Welcome back to Swamp Sound Studios, Gabbing About Gear, episode number 1, 2, 3. I'm your host, John Mick, and today we are going to dive into everything recording guitar. Let's dive in. So, when it comes to recording guitar, there's many different philosophies and many different approaches. It depends what the context is. It depends if you're recording acoustic, obviously, versus electric, and then what kind of tone you're trying to achieve. So for this particular recording, I went easy peasy, clean. I didn't try to do distorted guitar, that kind of thing. Couple of key principles when recording guitar to keep in mind is the phase correlation of microphones if you're using more than one. If you're using one, kind of doesn't matter. But if you're using more than one, you kind of want to, or you want to try to balance the capsules as much as possible so you don't have to phase align them in post like we were doing on the bass reprints we did. So in this case too, I took a DI, and I'm actually going to show you too, when we get to the mixing portion, how to reamp. So you know what? We'll take that clean guitar and we'll run it through a distortion for fun, like we're reamping some sort of metal guitar thing. So we got the clean, then we'll have some fun. We'll mess it up. But the other thing to keep in mind too, when miking cabs specifically, and you'll see in there, is where you're placing the microphone on the speaker itself. So the closer you get to the dust cap, the more high frequency you're going to get. The further to the edge, the more bass mid-range response you're going to get. And from what I've been told, the dust cap is somewhat of a null point, but some people mic it anyways. I typically mic a speaker just to the edge of the cone where the dust cap starts, so kind of where it's going to be the brightest. So yeah, let's go ahead and walk through the microphones, and I'll show you the doo-doo room. Let's take a walk down memory lane and let's explain what these guitar amps are doing. Oh, how you like that rhyme out of nowhere. Alright, so for that particular recording, what you were hearing was this Fender head through that cab. But let's go ahead and start top to bottom, and we'll explain what we got going on here. So this is a 1999 Fender Blues Junior. I recently replaced the spring tank in it. We're doing a 57 and a Sterling Audio ribbon. It's an ST170. It takes phantom power, but I really love these two on this particular amp, and it's the original speaker. This is kind of an oddball amp. It's a Fender Rampart with a custom Jensen in it. They only made it for 1 year, and it's all tube, 9 watts. It's 2 inputs and 2 volume knobs. That's it, a dry and a hot. So that's about it. I'm using a Telefunken M80 and a 57 just off center of the dust cap. All right, coming up here. So the orange head is going to a PV Windsor cab with the original speakers that is hidden in the storage room, which I'm not going to show you. And it's got a Soul 57 on it. It does a thing. I like it. The Black Star is going through the Fender George Benson cab. I've got a Warm Audio 14 on there, as well as a 57 balanced. And I'll show you what preamps all these are hitting in the desk here shortly. So the Fender head, as you know, is going through this. Down here it used to be, I'm guessing, like a twin reverb or something like that. But it's got Celestion GT12s in it, some older ones. And as you can see, I'm doing an oddball mic combination, and I absolutely love it. You heard it. It sounded pretty good. It's an Audix i5, and then it is a Shure Beta 52A, which is meant for kick drum. So I'm treating it like a 421, doing like a higher fidelity, a 57 style mic, and a higher fidelity 421 style mic. So that was my rationale there. Last but not least, by any means, the PV Bandit. This has an electro voice, an electro harmonic speaker in it that's basically a GT12. And I actually love this amp a lot. I'm using the low gain setting, and I go back and forth between the two different tonalities on the amp. I don't know what year it was made. Hey, it's a Teal Stripe Bandit, so I'm using the Warm Audio 47 Junior, and we're looking off center of the cone, and then we're doing another Telefunken M80. So let's go ahead and let's get back over there by the desk, and I'll walk you through what preamps these microphones were hitting and how I have that set up, as well as talk about the pedal board. So yeah, here we go. Hello and welcome to this monstrosity of a pedal board. Let me go ahead and explain this chain. Hey, we're full of rhymes today. So first thing you're going to plug into is the DI box to get the clean DI, and that goes into that Soundcraft, and I can patch it anywhere I want into that one. So that's number one, numero uno. Then it hits the noise suppressor, which sends everything out so I can control the final thing in the chain. So what that does is it hits the switchblade, and it allows me to blend two different signal paths, or effects loops in parallel, in series, and blend the dry in. So in this case, I only have one loop going with the baseballs and the electro harmonics electric mistress. So I was doing the what that thing does, and then the chorus. But I can also blend two other loops. So the other loop would be it actually starts here. The Worm, Memory Boy, Holy Grail, Crayon, Metal Muff, and then Returns. Okay? So the second chain would be the Jet Phaser, Tube Screamer. All right, take that back. Let's start over. It's going to be Tube Screamer, MXR, the Wah, Electric Mistress, Baseballs, then the Jet Phaser, Octave Multiplexer, and back. When that goes out the master, it hits two EQs, so I essentially have, it would be a 13-band EQ and a compressor if I need it, but I never use it. Okay, then that goes back to the noise suppressor. Hits this channel here, the switcher. So channel A is going to be the PV Bandit with another EQ on it. Channel B goes into this guy where I can split between the Black Star, the Orange, the Champ, the Junior, and the Rampart. The bass is on its own, so I kind of build a chain as needed for the bass. I actually have a small clone and a Qtron not pictured here. But that is a rundown. So you plug in one instrument and you can split between all those different amplifiers, or in parallel at the same time if you really want to, and you can run all these pedals at the same time in two different chains. So yeah, madness, but fun. Let's talk about the desk and preamps and whatnot. We're only using one side of the desk today, so the DI, we are splitting from the patch bay into channel 6 right here, which is the Trident 80B preamps and EQs. The i5 was going through channel 4, which was the API 312. And then channel 15 here was the Beta 52A going through a Black Lion Auteur MK2. So here they are. Black Lion Auteur, API 312, and then the Trident ADB channel strip that I used. Yeah, so that's that. They were patched like this like a madman. Yes, the patch bay. Lovely, huh? So we only printed 3 channels from the desk, and that's it. So let's go ahead and let's dive into that session and take a look. Oh, hey there. I got this Pro Tools session pulled up we've been working on. Got that guitar tracked, and let's go ahead and take a dive. All right now, so I went ahead and I set up a couple guitar tracks, and I have a line out. So what we're going to go ahead and do is just take a look at the guitars, how they tracked. And we are going to reamp the guitar. We're sending it out the pedal board. So it goes out the interface to the patch bay, hits the radial reamp box, and then it's going into that pedal chain I showed you where it's hitting the, it's a 1999 Tube Screamer with a Dunlap wah halfway cocked. Hey, hey. And then the other chain is the Electro Harmonix Crayon microphone pedal, and I'm hitting the Electro Harmonix Memory Boy. So Electro Harmonix does not sponsor this. I just like their pedals, and yeah, so that's what we're using. 2 chains in parallel. We're only sending that dry DI. So here, let me actually mute what was coming back from the room there. Okay, I got it muted, so we don't have to worry about that. But here was just the clean DI we took before the pedal board. Okay, so let's go ahead and mute everything. We're going to mute the bass. All right, let's go back up to the top. Let's mute it from the bus. So drums and bass. So now we're just hearing guitar. Very, very, very clean. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that guitar and we're going to send it out the amplifier. So today I've chosen to use the Black Star. It's a little 1 watt all tube head, and that's going out a George Benson Fender signature cab. It's a pine cab with a custom Jensen speaker in it, I believe. And we're showing back up on the console on channel 23, which is going to be that 57 I showed you, going through a Golden Age 573 preamp on the desk and coming back in. The other microphone on that cab was the Warm Audio 414 clone, and that's going through the Warm Audio 112, so basically like an API style preamp. And they were pretty well phase aligned from the cab, so we won't necessarily be messing with that in post today. But before we reamp, there's the EQ curve. It was out of phase in context with the other 2, but that's the DI that we took. So that was just the Strat DI'd into the Trident 80Bs. Here's the EQ curve. Same EQ curve that was on the API and the i5 that showed up on that Fender cabinet that we were using with the Fender Champ head modified. Here's what the B52, Beta 52 looked like, just flat, and that was out of phase as well, kind of doing the pseudo 421 and 57 trick with the GT12s there. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to let you hear what's coming back on the desk and kind of go from there. So here, let's unmute this. Let me go ahead and mute these two because you're just going to hear it in real time from the console with my vocals. So here's what's coming back now from the amplifier room. And obviously you're hearing the clean blended it right now playing back for Pro Tools with a little bit of latency. So let's just go ahead and let's reprint that real quick. And then I'll go ahead and I'll show you my guitar bus. So here we go, reprinting from the top. Oh, ain't that lovely now. Let's just go ahead and mute everything that we got going on. Unarm those and unmute them. I'm also going to mute those on the desk just in case so we don't have any trouble. Okay, so let's take a look at what we got here. Let's zoom in. All right, so let's see what our phase looks like. Little bit off, so let's just go ahead and phase align these real quick just for the sake of it. That looks good. We will take it. And just a fun fact, look how close together those two microphones are as far as the phase alignment. Saves you a lot of time in post when you get it right from the beginning. Say hi to Marbles, everybody. Don't know if you can hear him. All right, zooming out. So let's hear what we just recorded, and just that only. Here we go. Pretty cool. We're not here to judge my playing or anything. This is purely just for educational purposes, not to take a look at what I do playing wise. Pretty cool though. So let's put the clean DI in with it now and see what that sounds like. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Also, let's take a look at the EQ curves here. I'm probably actually just going to bypass these just for the sake of it and see what happens. I had just copied these over from the other channels, so just out of curiosity, let's mute this DI again and hear those with no EQs. And we were going for a wild tone, if you were wondering. So, yeah, man. All right, let's blend these in. So now this is our API and i5 and our Auteur MK2 and our B52, our Beta 52 rather. Let's hear them. Pretty cool. For the sake of this, let's pull these inward a little bit. Let's go like maybe 50-ish % on these, the previously recorded tracks. So let's see what that sounds like. I dig that. Throwing in the clean DI. I dig that. I think that's pretty cool. It almost sounds like two guitar players playing now. You know, your Mohawk player and your your Walter Becker kind of guy there. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the guitar bus really fast, and then we will put the guitars in context. Okay, so first of all, we got a little EQ rolling off some low end, so that's why we can kind of get away with no EQ curves on some of those and boosting at the same frequency. Maybe it's just laziness. I could go in and EQ things and make them stand out more, but I thought there was enough variation on the way they're tracking through the preamps, the desk, and everything to not have to do a lot in post. Digging this. This is the Brainworks 80 Neve style channel strip. If you're into 80 series Neves, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so we're not really doing anything here. Little bit of gain, little EQ, not a whole lot. Actually, I don't think we're really doing anything. Just a little bit of boosting. That's about it. And utilizing that gate because it's a very noisy plugin for whatever reason. Okay, and then last but not least, we're not doing anything. May need it, may not. Hey. All right, so that's the guitar bus. Let's go ahead and let's start adding everything back in. So there's drums, bass, everything. Here's everything. Pretty cool. I think I'm going to pull the cleans down just a hair. And let's hear that in context. Better. Hey, not the best performance on the planet, but, again. I think that's about it because we did such a good job with the phase coherency. There's really not a whole lot to do in post, so take notes. If you don't want to be sliding stuff around and pulling your hair out, you saw how fast I did that, so get it right from the source, right? I admit I took a little bit of time before this video, maybe about 5 or 10 minutes, just sending signals through that Black Star and George Benson and getting levels correct on the desk before I made this video. So Again, get it right from the source, and there's a lot less to do in post. So hopefully this was insightful. Yeah, that's it. All right, y'all. I hope this has been insightful. I hope you got some ideas seeing how I do things here in my home studio here in my basement. Hey, I'm just a guy in my basement, and you can be one too. But I think next what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at maybe layering some keyboards or something of that nature over our little ditty here in the next video. So if you like what you see, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, let me know what you want to see, and yeah, we'll continue doing some deep dives here and gabbing about gear. Thanks again for stopping by. And as always, have a good one there.